Good evening, everyone. Just give me a second. Okay, so here we have another glue. So today we continue build review with 135 release from ICM. As you remember, that's fresh toolkit, which copies le.gl.Pkw Kfz.1 in 135 scale. We have version with open roof, but there will be also option to have car with closed roof, but we have the open variant. As you remember, in the previous live streams, we assembled the chassis. Here you can see it. And then we continued with assembly of the engine. And last step yesterday was this part. So that's the main floor, let's say, of this vehicle. We installed this exhaust here and also its protection for the off-road. And I also built several parts, let's say, offline. What I did was this small seat, then two front seats, and also this frontal cage, which you can see here. By the way, this element is glued out of 3 parts, which is quite interesting for such simple part, I would say. Next, I also tried out wheels. I glued one wheel, as you remember, it is molded like this. So I will try to bring it closer so that camera will focus on this. It's still not focused. So let's bring it even closer and now focus. Okay, so here you can see the frontal section is molded as a one piece together with tire, but rear side is inserted, and you can notice the small gap between the main section and this section which is inserted inside. So be careful while gluing it. It's a bit, let's say, movable, but otherwise we have really nice tire pattern, and it's not that difficult to separate this part. So here you can see, by the way, the attachment point. It will be obviously positioned on the earth so that it won't be visible. And I will cut out other views offline as well, because it's not that serious, I would say, step of the assembly. Next, what I did was to try out one of the doors. Here you can see the inner side. As you can see, one handle was pre-molded. Just give me a second to focus. So here you can see one handle was pre-molded and another one is glued as a separate piece, and it is quite visible, I would say. Okay, now you should be able to see it. And now we just flip it over. I also glued this handle here, and it is also designed as a separate piece, and it is molded as a plastic part. Be careful because it is easy to break, and then you have to replicate somehow, and it's even easier to lose because of its size. Here you can see comparison with my fingertip. Camera focus jumps in and out, but I hope you saw it. Now what I was also doing is the rear cage for the headlamps, for the rear lights to be precise. I will assemble it offline and then I will show it, because again it's a thin parts which require some precision, so it's better to do offline so that you don't hear the bad words, I would say. And today we continue to assemble the car body, so I go several pages back. As you remember, car body is installed into special position slots, so I guess there won't be any problem with installing it afterwards, but I'm just thinking if there will be any problem with painting all those elements, because chassis will be visible on the final vehicle. Just give me a second. I'll combine all the parts together and you will see. So here you can see that the side of this part is visible while our vehicle is glued together, but we have to check it. First, what we have to do is to separate part A24, and by the way, we can try the wheel. on this car. So just give me a second. And it's not that easy as it sounds, but here it is. Quite interesting. When I will have 4 wheels, I'll show how it looks on 4 wheels, let's say. And now, as I said, we need part A24, that's this huge section, which will be serving as a screen in front of the engine. So I'm going to saw it off. Then we clean it a bit and we start installing small parts. So just give me a second. As I said in the previous parts, in the previous video reviews, I'm not sure why ICM decided to have such detailing on the engine, because it will be closed with bonnet. So either we will get a version where bonnet will be openable, or it was done keeping in mind that some modders might prefer to do some modifications in order to have even more realistic appearance. But I'm not sure which group you are, so it will be up to you what you will do with this. Next we need sprue B, and here we need part B41 and B17. So B41 is this tiny part here. So, and it has attachment points, so it should be quite easy to install, I think. Just let me to separate it. I'm not even going to clean it because it was cut off nicely without any problems. So now we just pick it in the tweezers and we place it here. And now the funny stuff is that we need to have some glue there, because otherwise it will be tricky to install this part from the first try. As you can see, my tweezers are not that sharp and they do not hold part in place in a good way, let's say. So I'll just put a drop. And we glue the part. Okay. Just need to rotate it because this part is not the same on the bottom and the top. So be sure to have it in the right position. And it is clearly shown on assembly manual, so I think it won't be problematic to understand how you should install this part. Okay, it is in place. Next step is to take part B17. I'm trying to close the glue. Okay, B17 is this big part. So let's saw it off and see how it will be installed on the vehicle. Okay, so here it is. And then it should go somewhere here. Actually, like this. And then we have special guiding elements which will help you with positioning this part. Okay, so we use fast drying glue in order to have everything fixed nicely in place. And I will show you what we've done. Okay, so we installed those two parts. Now you should be able to see them. And everything looks more or less nice. I mean, here we didn't have any problems with fitment, we didn't have any problems with assembly manual. So let's move on. Next step involves installation of the part. First we flip it over and then we use part A52. A52 is this part. this frame. So I'm going to sell it off and we'll install it in place. Be careful because it has special position pins. Do not destroy them, because then we will have problem replicating them and installing parts in the right place. So now just let's clean it a bit and then we will glue it into place. It's funny that now I'm doing the live stream during the late hour, let's say, and it seems like everybody's sleeping. Here it is 1 a.m. Quite late, yes, but who cares? Our hobby does not have any time issues, let's say. So that's why we are doing this live stream. Now we have special position points for this element. We are just going to use them. Okay, just like this. And then we do the glue, which will hold everything in place. So just like this. Okay, maybe I'll add some glue from the bottom because it won't be visible, but it will ensure the solid bond between those two parts. Keep in mind that you have some elements from the rear, so do not destroy them by accidentally pressing on them. So here we have this part in place, and then we need part A51. A51 should be a small box, so let's search for the small box. This one. Okay. Now it is here. Just clean it a bit. Okay. And we install it into the right spot with help of position element with the right points. I'm just not sure how to install it because we have the round corners on the top, so keep it in mind, and that will make it easier to install part in the right spot. Now again some glue. Okay. It forms into quite interesting copy of the vehicle, and I like it, to be frank. Okay, so we have it in the place. Now we need part A53. Part A53 should be big as well, so we have it. I'm not sure if it is the right part because that's the dashboard, as you can see here, and then we should glue it here on the main section which we were assembling, but it seems like this is the part we need, so we are going to sew it off. Okay, now just give me a second to clean it again, even though this lower part won't be visible on the finished vehicle, still it is important to have clean parts, right? So, and next we need part B29, and B29, here it is, this one. So now I'm just going to cut it off, just like this. Okay, done. Done. And again, we try to clean it carefully. Again, you can see that plastic is quite thin, so it is better to use knife like this, because otherwise you just break the part and then you end up trying to repair it somehow, or trying to assemble something similar out of your tools, which is not that easy, obviously. And I broke it already, so let's apply some glue. It is not visible, but I broke it in the middle connection, so I'm going to apply some glue in order to have bond strengthened, and then we will install it in place. Let's put it aside for a second. I'm looking at some other parts because we need, for example, B29, B39, and B45. So B39 is quite small, and it can be found here, this tiny piece. Let's cut it off and install it while the frame dries and gets ready, let's say, to be installed onto the dashboard or connected with the dashboard. Actually, I'm quite surprised that plastic here is quite, how to say, tender, and it is really easy to break. So be careful with this, keep it in mind, and then you'll be good to go. Okay, so I'll apply some glue here. Let's take the dashboard, glue this part right to the spot, and stand there. Next we need B45, which should be a slightly longer rod. Here you can see it, and I'm not sure how to install it. Okay, now I know. There is a, let's say, thicker end on one side, so this side should be pointing on the driver or at the driver, and the side with smaller size, let's say, should be pointing, used for installation, not pointing. Key part is cleaned. Now just let's a bit rotate this piece. Okay, now it should be ready to be installed as well. With this part, I'm not sure how to be because it is quite small and we need it to be fixed in place as soon as possible, because otherwise it will be wobbly. So I'm going to use fast setting glue and see if it holds in place properly. It seems to be okay. Just let me apply a bit more glue and we are good to go. Okay, and next we assemble the frame, as you remember. So as far as I understand, there is no difference. No, actually it is, there is a difference on how frame should be installed. You will see it. It is quite easy to notice. So we apply again fast setting glue. So the part stays in place without flying somewhere else. And just to be sure, some glue on the top of the part. Okay, so here it is. And then it should be glued into the special slot in the panel which we just assembled. So it should be somewhere here. Okay, nice and easy. And again some glue to hold it together with this big section we just glued. Okay, so it looks like this. And next, just give me a second. I would like to see one thing. With the live stream, don't forget to put the video on the top quality because it really changes the thing, how everything looks like, and you'll see more stuff on the picture. So don't forget about doing this. I just noticed on my stream because it was looking weird, and I realized that it should be switched on as a 720p, not as a 144p as it sometimes appears as default, you know. Now I'm sewing off the handle, which will be placed on the dashboard as well. That's an off-road vehicle, so the passenger needed special handle to be, let's say, holding all four. Okay. Just clean it a bit. It will also replicate some weathering on this handle because obviously it wasn't touched once, and we don't need pristine condition, but we also don't need really rough and damaged version of this vehicle. So the gold middle will be perfect for us. And now we just apply some glue again. Fast setting one, because otherwise this handle will be tilting back and forth. Here as well. Now this in place. Okay, so it looks more or less okay. Here you can see it. Quite nice sub-assembly, I would say. And next, what we will be doing is installing pedals on the vehicle. And why I'm a bit confused, because I'm not fully understanding on how to install the dashboard, because it seems like dashboard should be installed on the chassis, not on the not under the mainframe, and that puts some challenge, because I will show you. So we take this mainframe, we also take this board, and then basically dashboards should be installed somewhere here as far as I understood. Right, so it should be here. And next, what I am interested in is, no, we won't be able to remove the floor, and but from the other side we get to make this thing. So basically we can glue, we still have a chance to glue it separately and then install it here. Let's do it. Let's try to do it. And if it won't work, I will just tear the part apart. But I think it should work, because why it shouldn't be working? The only thing I'm thinking about is the engine, because part of the gearbox is visible through the interior, and that's why we are going to put this engine into this place where it belongs. Just give me a second. Okay. Obviously, if we do the installation step by step, so it means first engine and then this thing, everything should work nicely, in my opinion. But as you know, modern hobby does not care about the opinions, and I'm having already some difficulties. So just give me a second. Why? Because engine is not installed properly. That's why we are having some problems with the parts. Okay. You can hear plastic clicking and quacking. That's due to a lot of thin elements on this kit, and you won't be able to avoid this. But once you have everything in place, you will have really nice result. So my guess is that engine will have to be mated with the main chassis, otherwise we will have huge problems. And I'm experiencing them now, even though before it was really easy to fit. I'm not sure what changed now. So if I align 2 points, one is missing. So either we do it this way. Actually now it should sit properly. And next we do the dashboard. So as you can see here, we have the engine in place. I'm holding it by the frontal base, and then we installed the floor. And with floor, I have several questions. Why this part does not slide in? What exactly does not allow us to have it slide in? Side, there's part. Okay, so it's like this. Now part stays intact. And then we have the frontal panel. So basically you won't be able to move the frontal section because there is a raised element here inside. I am not sure if you will be able to see it. It's here from this side. And basically it means that if you have the main frame, you can't go like with this top cover like this while having the dashboard glued. So that's quite an interesting moment to think about. Let's say what we can do is to have the dashboard separate till the end, and also have the engine separate till the end. Then we have a lot of sub-assemblies, but it will be quite fun in my opinion. That's the essence of the car kits, you know. Anyway, let's take the part A25, but I think the engine will have to be glued ASAP because otherwise it won't be possible to install it into the place. As I said, part A25 is this one. This part won't influence on the assembly process, so that's why I'm that confident about cutting it off and starting it into the place. From the other side, as I said, we have engine hidden under the bonnet, so we have to decide if we really want to want to weather this engine, because the only thing which will be visible is a gearbox. So maybe it is worth giving the engine just basic black coat and installing it right into the spot. and then forgetting about it. So here we have this rear section, which should be glued here. This one doesn't give you any problematic things. Just let's apply some glue and we will be good to go. Okay, so here it is. Next, we have also A30 and A32. Those are radiator parts. So here you can see A32, and this one is A30, this part. Cut them off. With those parts, I would like also to test one thing, because they are shown as elements which should be installed after the engine. I just wonder if we can glue them onto the frame without waiting for the engine, and if it won't make the assembly process problematic, even more problematic, let's say. Okay, so a bit of clean. Now it should be fine, more or less. Okay, so here we have first part, and then we have A30, which should go on the top of this part. Just give me a second. And again, the funny fact about this thing is that we have detailing both inside and outside. So I wonder if anybody can explain why, if the bonnet will be closed. That's just interesting thing to see. So here we have it. We install it right into this spot, and we are good to go. So here you can see detailing of this part. Let's apply some glue. Okay, glue is in place. I will just leave it aside to dry a bit. And just let me jump to the next page. Next page shows that we need side panels, side body panels. And these side body panels, the main thing about them is that they will be going here, connecting together with the dashboard. So basically, if you would like to build car body, you have to install them right into the place. Now I'm just thinking what to do, because it might be a bit difficult to have, and I mean, not the engine, but whole car assembled as I thought to do it, and I'm not sure what to do. So I have to think it through. Let's do one thing for ending this live stream. I would like to assemble the roof. So we need parts A33 and A34. Here they are, these two parts. As you remember, we have folded roof, so that's why they're depicted in such position, but it's really nice molding, quality and design. So they look really good, especially if you apply some weathering for this material, it will be even better. So don't be shy, try to have really nice finish on these parts. Okay, so here is A33, A34, and then we need A33. 33 has some angled structure, so be careful with this. I'm going to use this knife again. And here. Okay. And now we need to combine these two parts together. So here we have this special angled part. I hope you can see it. So it looks like this. And then we just combine them together like this, as far as I can see. Let's put glue inside. Okay, so what we get is this structure. Okay, let's put it aside. And we need parts B21 and B22, which are the sides for this roof. And they are attached by one point only, which is really nice, because you won't have to glue a lot of elements. I mean, to clean a lot of elements. Okay, it's part B21, so B21 should go here. It's the left section of those parts. And again, I think something, it's B21. And again, we have wrong guiding position, because B21 should be from the right side, not from the left side. If I put from the right side, just give me a second. I'm trying to understand what we have to do. Because picture-wise, everything looks perfect, but once you try to install this part in place, you have to do a bit of guesswork. Okay, now it holds in place, so nothing is wrong here. Let's glue it together. Here and here. And not that nice thing about this connection, and what I'm not going to fix because we're doing out of the box build, is that when you assemble roof, we have joints here. I mean, it's visible that we have joint seam here in the where these parts join, obviously, and you will have to sand it somehow, because otherwise this roof will look weird and unnatural. So be ready for this. I'm going to use knife a bit later. Now I'm using the fast setting glue in order to get plastic melted a bit, and then it will be easier to clean just excess of the plastic with this knife. As you remember, I'm using this one Morton knife. It's really nice and handy, and as far as I remember, they have several models, which should be up to your taste, I hope. Okay, so here we have this part glued in place too. Let's give me a second. Okay, so it's fixed in place. Glue. And now a bit of aligning into the right position. Okay, just like this. We have roof more or less ready. I'm just going to have some glue on the top, but it's done intentionally in order to melt plastic and hide the joints. I hope I will succeed in this task, because otherwise it will look funny. Okay, and some glue here in this area. Okay. Now we just have to decide, leave it aside to dry a bit. And what I was going to check is if we can install this radiator without the engine. So it looks like we can. But the question is if we should, is first, and the second is that if we install the engine into the place, I mean the radiator in place, then the engine should be connected with this top section, and then here 1, 2, 3 attachment points, which is not that easy. So let's not hurry with this. We'll do it a bit later. And I think that's all for today, because it's a bit late here. It's already 1:30 a.m. And thank you that you joined and watched our live stream. I will see you in the next video as usual. If you like this video, don't forget to press the like button and support us by pressing the donate button on our website. It is easy because it's done via PayPal, and of course you will be deciding how much we will get from you. But be sure that all this money will be used to improve video and photo quality of our reviews. Thank you for watching, and I wish you good night, and I will see you tomorrow as usual. Bye.